Hi dear friends, today we are going to talk once again about the consecration of Russia. In the latest videos I told you that the Church didn't do it properly. They have tried in 1982 and in 1984 with Pope John Paul II, but they didn't do it in the right way. It was so evident they didn't do it properly that even a part of the Church itself pointed that out. For example, Father Amorth reminded us of that in an interview. He said, "Let's consecrate Russia, let's do penance, let's do good works." More, there is Don Gobbi, who is a priest. On May 13, 1990, he received a message from Our Lady, and he said, "The consecration of Russia has not been done in a valid way." Also, Father Gruner, who is a consecrated man, he published a great deal of videos on YouTube reminding us many times that the consecration of Russia has never been done. Why is it so important? In 1952, Sister Lucia said, "The Pope must know that without the consecration of Russia, Russia will not convert, and the world will never find peace. There will be no peace in the world." So heaven had offered humanity this great act of mercy, and humanity didn't take it. Moreover, it was a great offense, because, as usual, man placed himself above Mary's appeals. Let's look at today's messages. Luz de Maria, Apparitions, Argentina, 2014. My beloved, this generation has committed a grave error and a great offense against me. This grave offense is having ignored my petition made in Fatima to consecrate Russia to my Immaculate Heart. You, my children, for the majority, ignore the devastation not only of the spirit, but of all of creation with which communism will crush this generation. Now pay attention. Humanity will see with horror and terror the cruelty of those who, without compassion, will scourge you totally. I have called my son's church so much. This grave offense rises in this instant over all of humanity, for the entirety of my call, of my message in Fatima, has not been revealed to my children. Our Lady said that the Church has hidden part of the secret of Fatima. In fact, in our latest meetings, I've told you that Fatima talks about the second coming of Jesus, about the book of Revelation by St. John, where he talks about a final great war. In this war, as I've read in the last message, Russia and communism will show all their cruelty. And this is one more reason why Virgin Mary is asking for the consecration of Russia right now. Carbonia, Apparition, Sardinia, 2014. Russia is already driving the tide of war all over the earth. Korea will support Russia in this destruction, and China will be the princess alongside Russia. Here is the war announced in Fatima. Babylon is over. The Heavenly Mother also said, "You will be scourged by communism." These countries, Russia, China, Korea, will unite, and that's something we are already witnessing right now. For example, on June 8, 2018, the Chinese President Xi Jinping awarded the Russian President Putin the first medal of friendship with China. China is Russia's principal trading partner. They are building and developing together the Silk Road. They have been building gas pipelines and oil pipelines to transport the Russian gas to China. And in the future, this partnership, this very tough military alliance, will take place. I already said that the Russian army is the most powerful army in the world. But I would add that also China is no joke. It has hundreds of nuclear warheads and also submarines and missiles. Even Korea, in its small way, is no joke. It has intercontinental missiles which can cover distances of over 7,000 miles. Therefore, they can strike America. However, there is another aspect that I want to delve into. There is the cruelty with which the Communist Army is going to strike the world. Let's see this video.
미종유의 시련과 난관 속에서도 강국의 존엄과 기상을 온 만방에 떨쳐주신
The cult of personality has spread throughout China thanks to Mao Zedong and especially across North Korea thanks to Kim Il-sung. That's to say, they regard their leader, a human being, as a little deity. Actually, we have just seen in this video that before Kim Jong-un, people were so moved by joy that they were crying, they were cheering. Or, still in Korea, we have just seen people crying in despair. On their knees, they were screaming in front of the statue of Kim Il-sung. They were even bringing him flowers. They had regarded him as a man-god. In fact, they also called him the eternal president. However, let me ask you a question. Do they really love him so much? First of all, we must take into account that in North Korea they have been living and they are still living under a heavy dictatorship. Let me explain. In their houses, in all of North Korea's houses, they had to keep the picture of Kim Il-sung and to keep it clean too, nevertheless. They used to carry out checks in their houses, and if the pictures were not clean as ordered, that was considered a crime. In all schools, they must keep the picture of the leader. From an early age, children are indoctrinated to report people who oppose the regime. About 200,000 people 200,000 citizens opposed the regime of Kim Jong-il. These people were tortured with sadistic tortures, such as electric shocks, and then they were executed in the gulags. That regime decides on the job you must do. Whether you like it or not, it doesn't matter. You got to do it anyway, and with your salary you can buy only food. People cannot have a car, nor any motorized vehicle. They can only get around on foot or by bicycle. To drive a car is a privilege granted only to prominent personalities of that regime. Now, under Kim Jong-un, they have decided that some types of haircut are not allowed and therefore forbidden. China is no joke either. The people who tested positive because of this scenario, they have been taken and brought to quarantine facilities without much ado. In 2018, still in China, they spotted some camps where a large number of Uyghurs were locked up. They are an Islamic ethnic group and they were brainwashing them. Whatever that regime decides, that's how it should be. Otherwise, you are in serious trouble. The very Chinese people said that if our government decides something, people must comply. It's not like it is abroad. They are afraid. They fear their own leaders. So back to what I was saying earlier. Why do they weep with joy before Kim Jong-un in North Korea? More, why do they cry in despair on their knees screaming in front of the statue of Kim Il-sung? In front of these dictators who have been treating their own people in such a horrible way and still do? Because they have been mentally indoctrinated since childhood and because they are terrified of this regime. These tears of joy or of sadness, it's just fear. Fear is an energy, a charge, which manifests itself also with these scenes of joy or sadness. So, when the Chinese and the North Korean army will go to war, they will vent all of this charge, all of this energy, all of this excitement against the enemy, against Europe, against America. Then, these soldiers are going to be war machines, ruthless, cruel, fanatic, evil. Giglio tra le spine, apparitions in Rome, approved also by Father Emhoff, 2014, pray in reparation and penance for the conversion of China, from which great evils and catastrophes will come. Luz de Maria, apparitions in Argentina, 2015. I invite you to pray, my beloved, for China. It will bear pain and terror. Carbonia, 2013. China is arming its own army for the march to Europe. Pay attention. It's on the war path. It will cross the borders in its wickedness. It will cross the borders in its wickedness. It will be a terrible war. That's why Virgin Mary talked about the cruelty with which they will strike us. However, all of that does not happen by chance. Jesus said, all that take the sword shall perish with the sword. Our powerful leaders organize wars. We got all the evidence, so what do? We stay silent. Millions of abortions every year. We export weapons and bombs which strike and tear apart thousands of innocent children, and we still stay silent. The people who say the truth are being more and more disgraced and ostracized. These are all swords which are piling up, and in a little while they are all going to get back at us. Therefore, our Father allows the Communist Army to tear us apart. All right? So, I repeat, Our Lady said that part of the secret of Fatima has been hidden by the Church. Let's try to understand. Luz de Maria, 2012. My tears spill because of the human corruption that has reached the interior of the church that my son founded. I made known in Fatima, in the third secret, pay attention, my pain for the corruption and the desolation of the church, and it has not been made known. In Fatima, Virgin Mary spoke of the corruption and the desolation that would enter the church. That is, of the darkest, the lowest, the most sordid and the most bleak crimes, of pedophilia. Let's see this video.
Important endorsements to the contents of the Third Secret of Fatima, especially about the crisis of the Church, the chaos reigning in the world and the fact that the message also concerns the future of humanity, were given by Pope Benedict XVI in May 2010. On a visit to Portugal on the 93rd anniversary of the 1917 apparitions at Fatima, Benedict XVI released these important statements.
The current sufferings of the Church, as a consequence of child abuse committed by priests, are part of those announced in the Third Secret of Fatima.
Even the Pope said that. Even the Pope. Child abuse is part of the content of the Third Secret of Fatima. Pedophilia inside the Church, and Our Lady pointed out very well. In fact, for example, we have seen Cardinal Theodore McCarrick indicted for abusing a 16-year-old child. More. What about George Pell, Vatican Minister for Finance? I said Vatican. He was arrested for abusing dozens and dozens of children. He was having sex with these children in any way possible. I won't go into details, so disgusting. Also, a German priest confessed himself that he had abused over 100 children in the space of around 25 years. The archbishops of Dublin knew all that, but they have hidden these crimes in order not to stain the reputation of the Church, and they've been hiding the crimes of other priests. These priests were taken and moved to other parishes. Then what was happening in these other parishes? They kept on abusing other children. More, what about the Provolo Institute in Verona? They have abused about 70 children who were deaf-mute in the space of several years, just because these children were not able to talk and they were not able to witness. Later, over time, over the years, these children became adults, and then they could testify to all of this. They were able to talk, also thanks to sophisticated hearing aids. You can watch their testimonies. Their videos are also on YouTube. You can see these deaf-mute people who tell what happened to them in their own way, what happened within these institutes. Just type on YouTube Institute Provolo Verona and you'll find all of this footage. It's harsh footage, I know, but it's fair to know what's going on. One of these priests from Verona was then moved to another facility in Argentina. He abused other children too there. Afterwards, he was arrested. Back to our previous topic, pedophilia inside the church. In most cases, the higher-ups are covering up these crimes, so they are accomplices. Jesus said, "For all that take the sword shall perish with the sword." Just a question, who is going to be mostly in the crosshairs during this violent war which is coming? Here's the answer. Oliveto Citra, Operation Salerno, a message from 2001. I want to help you to better understand the risk that the world is running. It's about to leave the third secret of Fatima, where I speak of the destruction of the Vatican and of great chastisements which will befall the whole world. Carbonia 2013. Now you shall see its fall, with the fulfillment of the third secret of Fatima. You shall see, pay attention, the Church of Rome crumbling. Angera Apparitions Brazil 2007. Dear children, the Church of my Jesus will suffer because of the terrible persecution. Many priests will be led to the Calvary, and death will be present in the bosom of the Church. But the devil will not overcome the Church. Le Tre Fontane Apparitions, Rome, 1986. I see many priests with their cassocks and religious ones, men and women with their robes, all in line, and the captors who push them, dragging one by one onto a wooden stage. They had them kneel down and then asking them, get rid of the robe. And their answer, no, they took their heads and put them on a block. And there they were beheaded by the headsman. Beheaded by the headsman, who had an axe. First of all, in the past, the visionary of Le Tre Fontane had prophesied some events which were fulfilled after a very short time. For example, he dreamed of an airplane on fire with the inscription Torino. After about a month, it actually happened that an airplane carrying the great Torino soccer team crashed into the hill of Superga, and they all died. More, he dreamed of Aldo Moro, who asked for his prayers because he felt something bad was going to happen to him. After about 2 months, they kidnapped Aldo Moro, and then they killed him after a while. So whatever this man says, later it happens. So what did he just say in this message? I've just told you, priests will be beheaded. They will be treated like lambs to the slaughter by the communist army and by the Islamic extremists too, I might add. No surprise about that, because, as I said before, for all that take the sword shall perish with the sword. Pedophilia inside the church. In most cases, the higher-ups hide these crimes, so they are accomplices. They have hidden the message of Fatima. The secret of Fatima told about World War III, the apocalypse of St. John, about terrible events. Just by listening to the content of this secret, just out of fear, humanity would have stopped and then thought about all this. A great deal of people would be converted. The Church has not consecrated Russia. Russia would be converted. Therefore, Russia would not go to war. Might have saved us a lot of death, carnage, and sufferings. Thus, the Church committed crimes against humanity. The weight of these crimes is incalculable. Luz de Maria, 2013. So many calls in which I have asked the hierarchy of the Church to consecrate Russia to my Immaculate Heart. And this has still not been done. and this has still not been done. So Our Lady is still waiting for it. Now pay attention how much pain humanity would avoid with just the obedience to this call of mine. I repeat, how much pain humanity would avoid with just the obedience to this call of mine. So, Virgin Mary is still waiting for the consecration of Russia. I talked about the priests, so I'm going to send a message to all of them. Message number 1, first of all, to obey the Church. And obedience to the Church does not mean to be indifferent and silent accomplices of the crimes committed by the Church itself. Message number 2, I've heard several priests saying, let's hope for the best. Let's hope Our Lady will protect us, but it doesn't work like that. Your hopes cannot rise above the laws of God. All that take the sword shall perish with the sword. So it's mathematical. Let me say that again. It's mathematical. You have marked a terrible and atrocious future for yourselves. Now things could go well for 1, 2, 3 or 4 years, but then later they will come. Sooner or later, Russians, Islamic extremists, Chinese are going to come and you'll be in great trouble. Would you like to improve your future? There is only one solution. You must act. You need to throw some light swords in order to remove some of those dark swords which are bound to turn against you. How? First of all, if there are pedophile priests inside the church, have them excommunicated right away. Report these crimes. The message of Fatima has been hidden by you. Now it is you who must help us spread that message. It's your duty. Talk about it also during Mass, right in front of the people. Tell the truth. So, once again, do you want to make amends and improve your future? You must do these things with a bit of courage. Also, as usual, I ask everyone to translate this video in several languages: French, English, German, Portuguese, Russian, Arabic. In any language all the world must know. Dear friends, let's get to work. Thank you very much. See you for sure the next video. Thank you.